is investigating. First, I'm going to give you the report. Did you give me the Winston comment too? Is it in here or no? It's in the story. Okay. The NFL is investigating an allegation that Tampa Bay quarterback Jameis Winston groped a female Uber driver in March. NFL spokesman, March 2016, not this past March, March 2016. NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy confirmed that the allegations have been shared with the NFL, and they have asked Uber for information. The league's investigation was first reported Friday by BuzzFeed News. Now, the league has been informed that you may have been the victim of such a violation perpetrated by Jameis Winston, the letter wrote. The league takes allegations of this nature very seriously and has opened an investigation into this matter. Winston denied the allegations in a statement. He says categorically that the accusation is false. Here's Winston's statement. A news organization has published a story about me regarding an alleged incident involving a female Uber driver from 2 years ago, Winston said. The story falsely accuses me of making inappropriate contact with the driver. I believe the driver was confused as to the number of passengers in the car and who was sitting next to her. The accusation is false, and given the nature of the allegation and the increased awareness and consideration these types of matters are receiving, I am addressing this false report immediately. At the time of the alleged incident, I denied the allegations to Uber, yet they decided to suspend my account anyway. I am supportive of the national movement to raise awareness and develop better responses to the concerns of parties who find themselves in these types of situations. But this accusation is false. While I am certain that I did not make any improper contact, I don't want to engage in a battle with the driver, and I regret if my demeanor or presence made her uncomfortable in any way. Now, I don't know what that means. That to me, you're telling me, were you sitting next to her and she accused you of this, or you're in the back seat in a crowded car and she accused you of this? So he was obviously in the car. Was he sitting next to it? I guess can you pile into an Uber car and sit in the front? I guess you can sit in the front too, right? I guess you can, right? I don't know what kind of car that you see. Now, Uber could be any kind of car, or is it a certain kind of car? Any kind of car. It could just be the car that person owns, right? That's their car. Okay, so it could be any kind of car. We don't know what kind of vehicle it is. It doesn't say what kind of vehicle this was. So I don't know if it's a small car or what the deal is. The driver, who declined to give her name, told BuzzFeed News that she picked Winston up at 2 a.m. in Scottsdale, Arizona on March 13, 2016. Winston asked her to stop at a drive-through restaurant during the ride, and while in line, the driver said Winston reached over and grabbed her crotch for 3 to 5 seconds, only removing his hand when she said something. Winston was the only passenger in the car. So wait a second. I thought Winston said earlier, I believe the driver was confused as to the number of passengers in the car and who was sitting next to her. She says you were the only person in the car. So there's obviously some great difference of opinion here. The driver stated that he was the only passenger in the car. He's saying that there were more passengers in the car and that he's mistaken about who was sitting next to her. Winston was in Arizona for Kurt Warner's annual Ultimate Football Experience. During the weekend that the incident occurred, Winston's representative, Russ Spielman, also denied the allegation. We categorically deny this allegation. It is our understanding the Uber driver was unable to identify the specific individual who allegedly touched her inappropriately. The only reason his name is being dragged into this is because his Uber account was used to call the ride. The Buccaneers also released a statement Friday saying they are gathering information and said they are just finding out what the information is. We take these matters very seriously. We're fully supportive of the investigation, and we approve of the investigation being conducted by the NFL. Winston hasn't practiced because of his shoulder and isn't ready to play. Now, remember this. This is what I was going to get to. Winston was accused of sexually assaulting a Florida State student in 2012. He acknowledged having sex with the woman, but said it was consensual. The allegation was investigated by the Tallahassee police. Charges were never filed. In 2015, the woman in the case, Erica Kinsman, filed a civil suit against Winston. He countersued her. The suits were settled out of court. No specifics were released. Florida State agreed to pay Kinsman $950,000 in 2016 for the way the school handled her complaint. The school also agreed to 5 years of sexual awareness programs, but did not admit liability as part of the settlement. Winston also was suspended for Florida State's game against Clemson in 2014 after he, clipped something off the table. I don't remember what he stole. Stole a sandwich or something, didn't he? Or something like that.
Was it like crab legs?
I don't know what it was. He did something. No, this was he stood on the table. This is when he's not the crab legs. This is when he stood on the table and supposedly called the girl a bad name. So he's got, listen, Winston needed to stay clean. He had a checkered past. So far, I thought he was staying clean. I don't know here. The amazing thing is he says there were more than one person in the car. She says there was only one person in the car. His agent says she failed to identify him, though. I don't know. Let the NFL sort it out. So the NFL hasn't made any declaration yet about it. But I am amazed at how many senators, actors, executives, athletes we see with these sexual assault and harassment suits. Can't anybody act like a gentleman? I mean, give me a break, please. I mean, how many of these have we got to see? And throw the book at every one of them if they're guilty. But if they're not, you know what? Also, throw the book at the person who makes a fake allegation, too. Because we know there are fake allegations. But when I see, like in the case of a senator, when I see 8 women come forward, do I think that he's guilty? I sure do. Yes. I'm only going to get 8 women come forward and take on somebody who's running for, Congress or the Senate or whatever the incident might be. So the reason why you need to hear more about Winston is Winston's got a background. So if he did this, punish the heck out of him. But if he didn't, make sure you clear his name. So I think they should investigate it. Nick in